This is Family Electric Ghost. I went live on the air with Spencer Brill. You're a songwriter and baker, and creative overall. And we're going to talk to you about your craft. And welcome to the Family Electric Ghost podcast. How you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks so much for having me.
That's great. We've been around since 2016. We're at over 1,300 episodes talking to creative people around the world. And we like to do it live. So musicians, if you like live stuff, you know what we mean. Kind of stream of consciousness in the moment type of podcaster, but that's what we do. Before we get to the heart of your story, I always ask every guest on the show a couple questions. The couple questions I always ask are, what motivates you, and why do you do what you do?
Yeah, great question. I think what motivates me is making art. Really is just a huge motivator for me. I think there just needs to be more art, more good art in the world, and it's what gets me up in the morning. And I think that's the thing that definitely motivates me. And then what was the other question?
Well, basically, it's in the same vein. Like, why do you do what you do?
Yeah, I mean, for a variety of reasons, I love building community. I love connecting with other people. I mean, I am sort of a natural connector of folks, and I just love sort of building community around ideas and giving platforms to for that to different people and finding great people to work with.
That's interesting. I've always talked to a lot of creative people, and kind of and songwriting is my thing. I've written over like 4,000 or 5,000 songs.
Amazing! Wow, that's incredible.
But ever since I was a kid, I just loved writing, and I started with poetry, and then I realized, I was in music class, and I was like, I'm a child of the '70s, so I saw MTV. Right. And I had my father around playing his chess James Brown records, my mom playing the Carpenters, and my brother, 7 years older than me, playing Zeppelin and Hendrix, and so I was getting all this great music.
Classics. Just amazing
coming through. Yeah. And then I just nobody told me I couldn't be a musician, so I did it. But the whole idea of a permission structure, it's like a lot of people, I talk to people that later in life they give themselves permission. How early on did you know you were into music and songwriting?
Well, I was singing in choir since the time I was like probably 5 or 6 years old, I want to say. And so, I mean, music's been a big part of my life and my family for as long as I can remember. I definitely got into songwriting more in high school. I had a band up in way upstate New York. We're the town of 5,000 people. I was still able to form a great band up there. It was a great opportunity to just try it out. I mean, one of my favorite memories and sort of the high I've been chasing ever since is playing original songs to a group of friends in a small, dark room where everyone was, or a lot of people were, sort of singing the words back to me. It was the coolest experience ever. Like, it's like I wrote this song in my bedroom. Like I was feeling away, and like here you are, like well enough to sing it back. It's just like the coolest.
Yeah, that's like the big that's the gratification of being a musician. Like, unlike an author who has to go through a big process to get the feedback.
Yeah.
Right. If we go on stage, if you're a performing musician,
it's immediate gratification.
You go on stage, immediate feedback. And so it gets so addictive and it's cathartic. Because even when you're writing, like you get that immediate feedback, even if you're the only one in the room.
Yeah.
And you're crafting a song and you actually, hey, I'm in the zone. Like the muse is coming through. I'm getting a download. Like, I got it. And you're so like, hey, this is it. Maybe other people don't agree it's it, but like at the time you thought it was it.
I mean, there's been times where I've been in writing rooms either by myself or writing with other people where I just get like super giddy and like I just like it's like just magic. It's
like
a
total magical feeling. It's
when all of it comes together, it's amazing.
Because a lot of times, like people ask, like, "Oh, musicians, like, what are you doing?" It's like it's not always about the money. A lot of times, every musician I've dealt with is like it's not about the money at all.
No.
Right? It's usually if they're still doing it, right? They're doing it because they love it.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's this passion. And you see the guys in New Orleans and they're like 80 years old playing that jazz, and you're like, we see a Delta blues guy and they're like 79, 90, whatever. They don't stop because it is their life.
Yeah. I mean, I had a conversation with a new writer friend the other day who said, I can't not do music. I have to play. I have to write. There's just nothing like it's what I have to do. And then I've had other conversations in years past where, over drinks with, basically an acquaintance, but we had hung out a few times, and he said to me, if I don't make if I don't make this music thing profitable in like the next couple of years, like I'm gonna stop doing it. And I was like, well, just like get out of the way then, like just it's and I asked him point blank, I said, if you were alone in a room making music and no one ever heard the music and it was just you and a guitar or piano or production setup or whatever it is, but like no one ever besides yourself, no one ever heard this music, would you still do it? And he said no. And I was like, well, then this isn't for you, my dude.
Yeah, like, it's not like a William, like that's not a William Blake moment for you. Because William Blake, like he was putting those things on etching. He's etching in acid, the songs of experience and experience. And they were sitting in a barn, and he was, he's one of the greatest Victorian poets. And he was not known in his time. He felt the need to write all that poetry, and I've got all his stuff.
Incredible.
Because I was just really entranced with the fact that this guy wasn't famous and he did this great work, which shows that he was just dedicated to the work. He was dedicated to the idea of poetry, and he just did it.
It's the sort of intrinsic, inherent motivating factor. Like, I mean, going back to the permission question, like I never asked for permission. I never needed permission. I mean, thankfully I had a supportive family and, friends around me who were like, go do the thing. But like, even if I didn't, I would have been like, I'm going to go, find a way to make this happen. And like, I think that's the thing that's really sort of driving me forward for sure.
Yeah. Cause a lot of times it's like the comparison trap. And it's interesting. You talk about original music, cause I run into a lot of people where like when I was 17, 16, I was with a bunch of guys and my brother, we were into music. And we were like big concerts. We listened to everything from like Sun Ra to Zeppelin to Reed and the Velvet. We're like all over the map. And we had a pretty deep understanding of a lot of different forms. And we had these guys saying like, oh, we should be doing like Loverboy songs or something like that. I'm like, really? You want me to cover that? I'm like, I've got original material.
Yeah.
And we were writing original material and people were like, and we'd go to parties and play our original songs.
Yeah.
And people would say, well, how come you're not playing Duran Duran?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like,
because it's not a wedding.
Because that's not what I'm doing. I'm not a wedding singer. I'm trying to actually have a band,
Right.
We're actually writing our own stuff. And so that was always like this thing is like, wow, these people are so afraid to actually do their own thing. They had to show that they were competent because they're playing Zepp.
Right.
Or playing Rush or playing Stones. Not that you don't learn on it.
Yeah.
But how long do you stay in that?
Yeah.
Right. Like if you really want to be like the next Replacements.
Yeah.
Or the next Hoots to Do, or like Joy Division is like those guys wrote their own stuff.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's like it's such good practice to know the greats and learn the greats and like, rewrite the missing song from the album, it's like, it's like that's a way more interesting thing in my mind than like performing a verbatim version of literally
California or something like
that.
Yeah.
I mean, like
did it.
Yeah. Who did it? Those guys. And they did it better.
They did it better than I could ever do it probably. So I'm like, why would I do that?
Yeah. I mean, like I am fortunate to have a really killer band here in Brooklyn. We play shows all the time and like, it's all original tunes. Like we have never done a cover. I've been playing shows with the same band for like 2.5 years.
That's a hard thing because a lot of people don't stand for that. Like the crowds, like when I was a kid, I would go see REM. I would go see Sun Volt. I would go see, Sonic Youth. And the thing was because I wanted to see that kind of college radio vibe, Cameron Van Beethoven, those type of bands, right?
Yeah.
So was really in it. I mean, I saw REM when they were on the IRS.
Oh
the
wow.
early stuff, like the murmur stuff, right? That to me, I was like, yeah, that's it. Like
Yeah.
what Stipe's doing, that's it. Because people are like, what's he saying? It's like it don't matter what he's saying. It's like he's got the guts to go up there and do
Yeah.
something I've never heard anybody do.
Yeah.
And that was the point to me.
I mean, for sure. Like I mean, I worked with an amazing songwriting mentor a couple of years ago who she was her name is Charlotte Yates. She's a New Zealand based songwriter, incredible career behind her, and just an amazing human being. Highly recommend her newsletter. It's also fabulous. Anyway, she and I were working together, and she was talking about how, going to a live show and then playing a cover, like a verbatim cover, like not even like in your own style, but like playing it like as it was originally done.
Yeah.
It's like, and then playing like one of your own songs, like just like shines this light of like, look at this incredible song that you grew up with, that like changed that was there for your first kiss, that was like part of your high school or college story. And then it's like, look at this like crappy song, like in comparison, this not timeless song.
It's my own.
That's immediately after what, and is where people are like, let's bust out the, like the lighters or their phone lights or whatever on the song that like everybody knows. And then it's like the come down from that immediately after.
And that's why if you come out like the Ramones, where you come out like a Husker Du, it's like they were doing their own, I like Paul Westerberg, like the Replacements. That was like, hey, here's a college band inspired by Alex Chilton and Big Star.
Yeah.
And they were trying to be the Beatles. Like Alex Chilton and Big Star, they were trying to replicate the Beatles in an American way. And it's very different. It's not like Badfinger.
Right.
It's something totally different.
Right.
And I just like the fact, when you see people actually informed by the Beatles, but they actually created something totally different, right? And so it's like different type. It's like this indie power pop, and there's a lot of bands that would name check them. Would name checking Alex Chilton, like the Velvets.
Sure.
Like they become like this underground thing, and I was always kind of inspired by those kind of stories. Like of that band that had that dedication to create like 3 5-star records, and nobody knew who they were. But
for sure.
But this idea that like you can have a vision and execute your vision, and it can be like you might like at the Dylan point of view, like he proved that you don't have to be perfect pitch, you don't have to have that golden voice.
Yeah.
Maybe you got something else. Maybe you got stories.
Right.
Maybe your writing is Pulitzer Prize level writing.
Yeah, for sure.
That becomes the thing, right? That's what became the age of the singer-songwriter, was that it doesn't have to come out of Tin Pan Alley. It can actually come out of a singer-songwriter that has something to say.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I joke that, so like, I like to say that sort of the bands of the like late 90s, early 2000s, like the rock bands and like indie rock bands from that time, like Weezer and Death Cab and sort of in Ben Folds and stuff, like Cake, is one of my favorite bands of all time. Like, that all that stuff is just like embedded in my soul and like embedded in my head. And so like it informs what I'm writing. Like it's a lot of those things, like sometimes with like elements of like Rage Against the Machine, it's like some harder elements, some stuff that's like fun,
MC5 kind of anger.
just like fun, like Ben Folds like in a super emo phase, it's like that kind of a vibe. And so like it's not like, it's not derivative.
No, I mean, you are your influence.
Right? It's all, it's a mixture of hodgepodge.
The really good writers, they're pulling from everywhere.
Yeah.
So like when you get like a Led Zeppelin, when they finally get out of the blues phase,
right, and
go to like Houses of the Holy, and you're like, wow, now he's actually, Jimmy Page is pulling from this, excuse me. But it's like, he was a great studio musician and he had a lot of wizardry. But the early kind of like the expansion of the Yardbirds,
right?
And then they kind of grew like the Beatles grew. Like Pink Floyd grew. Like you get this vision of like, what can you do?
Yeah.
how far can you push your ideas? Right. And and a lot of times it's coming from a lot of different places. It's like he's getting it, he's inspired by, what the Floyds are doing, what the Floyds doing, what the Genesis is doing, what Yes is doing. But you're like, I'm still kind of a blues guy. So I'm still gonna pull those things like Pete Townsend. He's like a punk.
Yeah.
But he's got these progressive things. He's doing Quadrophenia, doing, Tommy.
Right.
But the early Who is like the Clash.
Yeah.
So they had the same guy has got this Clash kind of attitude, but then he can do these big rock operas.
Right.
So
I mean, like it's the evolution of all those things. I mean, it's like if you're open to, I mean, like a friend of mine introduced me to King Gizzard.
Oh yeah,
was it King Gizzard? King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizards, right? That's the name.
Yeah,
the tongue twister. Anyway, amazing. Like he was like, oh yeah, by the way, every single album of theirs is a completely different genre, like a completely different style. It's so cool, and all of it's so good. It's like just such.
I like people who push it. Like they're not scared of pissing off their fans.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. And they're hoping their fans will come with them.
Right.
But if they don't, they get a new set of fans.
Right.
They like, there's certain fans that like this phase.
Yeah.
Like Bowie. Some people like the Thin White Duke over Aladdin Sane versus Ziggy.
Yeah.
It's like if all the Ziggy guys probably wanted him to stay Ziggy. Right. But he didn't.
Yeah.
And so he's done with that.
Right.
So like now you got to deal with the Thin White Duke. You got to deal with the Aladdin Sane. That's what happens. You move.
Yeah. You try new things. You see what and see what you're feeling and like see what sticks. Like working on, for me, it's like I'm working on shaping a sound, working on like building my own sound, and like the influences from everything that's so old and new again, is like all part of the equation. Like who knows what a record, 10 years from now will look like versus what I'm working on right now,
Yeah, I mean, I'm a synthesis. So and in terms of that, like I'm a old school subtractive synth and Buchla synth type of guy, like additive synth, subtractive synthesis. I'll spend hours just crafting my Moog, or my Buchla synths to give me the tone, because I don't like grabbing stuff from libraries.
Sure,
I like building my own tone, right? And so I'll take a lot of time to build that tone before I even write the song. And then the song is going to be inspired kind of probably most likely because I spent all this time building this sound that will represent the story of that tone.
Cool. That's awesome.
But that's like today, like you've got a lot of cheats. You can go into Ableton, you can go into Pro Tools, you can grab this, you can grab that. And that's cool. It gives access. Yeah. It gives access. But I do like the time when people actually used to craft their guitar sound, right? They would craft their style.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't be just ripping from, not that sampling is bad. I mean, I have samplers on my synths, but I tend to take a sample from a De La Soul Bomb Squad point of view, and make it so you can't tell where it came from.
It's cool.
And instead of trying to make it obvious.
I mean, like I've talked to so many people about like the sort of the hunt for the perfect sound, or like the sound that you want. And like, I feel super lucky that like I play a Japanese Fender Tele that's a fairly new acquisition, and is just like, it's a beautiful guitar, and
that's its own kind of, you've got to be pretty good to play Telecaster.
I mean, I'm a rhythm guitar player, so I mean that's who knows if I'm anyway. But I was able to bum I got a Fender Studio Lead amp on the cheap from someone else in New York, and I have found the overdrive pedal and like the overdrive pedals that I sort of like on my board, and like that's it. Like and I played a show just last Saturday, and I was like, this is how I want my guitar to sound every single time. Like this is beautiful to me, and like this is exactly when I play guitar, this is how I want it to sound. And so it was like really like I don't need to now go chase the
that, like trying to find the sound.
Yeah. Like I know what I like. I know what feels good to me. Like the guitar player in my band, he's got a crazy pedal, or he's a lead guitar player. He's got like crazy
pedals. Yeah, a whole box.
I mean,
like, just guys have a cabinet like the Edge.
Yeah.
They got these big cabinets.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay.
he might graduate to that, but he's really good. He's Danish, so he's like the minimalist and maximalist at the same time in that space. But he's like, it's very clear what his tone is. Like I could pick out his tone
anywhere. Yeah, well, that's what you kind of are driving for when you have a band, from your lead singer to the way you guys would compose. Like you want to have a signature. Yeah, maybe you were inspired by X amount of bands, right? But at the end of the day, like the way you approach a song is what your band is about. That people, if they hear your song, you want them to know that's you.
Yeah, immediately.
And that's what you craft. That's what you try to work on. That your craft, right?
So
that's
fun.
That's the things for me.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sorry, but
I mean, there's a lot of people that will like do a no. This is a not judgment free zone. They're people that will like have a couple of band practices and then go play live, and it's like or will like write a song in a session on their own or with other people and like not revisit it and then in between playing live and sort of writing songs, there's really like no maybe like additional self-discovery or discovery of techniques or tools and things. And like sometimes one can certainly get lost in the weeds. Like I've certainly found myself sometimes with like analysis paralysis or like just like being like, what are the things I can learn rather than like doing the thing, like which is also equally important.
Sometimes it's like you're rehearsing to get to something, right?
For sure.
It might not be the album or the song. It might be like I'm trying to get to I'm playing with different tunings.
Yeah.
I'm playing with different scales. I'm trying a new style.
Yeah.
Right? I'm trying to get a different approach. You've been studying somebody's approach and say, well, I don't want to clone this approach. I want to take like Robbie Robertson. There's this famous story of him looking at Curtis Mayfield, People Get Ready. And he inverted the structure of that song and turned it into like The Wait. And people were like, wow, if you really deconstruct it, you can see how he did it. But on its face value, it doesn't sound the same.
So interesting.
And that's where I get like lost in that kind of thing. Cause like that's cool. When somebody can take something from a totally different genre, like it's soul music, and you put it into Americana, country Americana, and you took that form, you inverted it, and you did that. That to me, that's why I like music. That's why I get really into it.
It's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, it's so fun.
But that's the craft that people get into. Like you look at it, like even like Robbie. Robbie wasn't like a speed demon. He wasn't a lead guy. He was kind of like a song guy.
Yeah, sure.
He put together songs, and he would step back from being showboating to actually doing stuff that served the song.
Right.
He's a guitar player that these little runs in it. Like you listen to band songs, he's got these little runs, but he's never showboating.
Yeah.
He's doing things that just make the song work.
Yeah. I feel like if one keeps that in mind, whether it comes to like writing or arranging or, editing or whatever, and it's like, whatever serves the, if you keep the focus being like, what's going to serve the song the best, then like it doesn't, then like there's no ego in the room, right? Like the ego disappears. It's like
there's this whole period, like I don't want to get into it, but the Yngwie Malmsteen, Eddie Van Halen, the great lead guitar players. But then Frank Zappa used to point out, I don't want to practice that solo note for note.
Right.
He has many statements where they interviewed him and saying, I could do that. In the Mothers, I could have done that. I chose not to do that.
Sure.
And I'm like, and he that was his opinion, but I kind of like that because when I went to go see like the Allman Brothers, it's because every time they did the song, they didn't do it the same way. Like when I go see Parliament Funkadelic, the way they never did it the same way. It's the same song, but how they presented it that night is what they felt for that song that night.
That's cool. Yeah, that's rad.
And that's kind of what I like. That's kind of what funk. I mean, Prince used to say funk. That's what funk is.
Yeah.
And he could play something note for note if you want to.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? But he wouldn't. Why am I going to do that?
But I mean, like that's the best part of live music. Honestly, is like, I mean, you can have the record, you can have the whatever, and it's like just the dynamic changes of like what the room feels like, and what transpires over the course of 40 minutes or an hour and a half or whatever.
Or even evolve in a song. Like there are versions of Dylan songs. Like I was listening to a bunch of different versions of Idiot Wind.
Oh yeah.
And they have different lyrics. But
Yeah,
they have different,
makes sense. Yeah.
They have different like structures. Yeah. Like they're versions of it that have more instruments on them.
Yeah.
Or kind of maybe like there's a version that just has a bass.
Yeah.
And him and hardly any drums. There's a live version from Hard Rain. But all those versions, there's many versions of it. I've got tons of them. And the story changes. And when he would do it live, he would change the story. And I'm like, I mean, Bruce has kind of been known. Bruce Springsteen does the same thing sometimes. He would change the story. Yeah. Based on what he felt or what he was, what he wanted to convey that night. He'd adjust the song. Yeah. And there's something cool about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's always like, another dear friend of mine, a guy named Jared Singer. He's a phenomenal poet, like slam poet. And he reminded me that like published work is a snapshot in time, like whether it's a published poem or a published song or whatever the case may be, like anything that's done and out in the world or whatever the case may be is like, you can re-release the same song 4 times and it can be different words, different different arrangement, whatever, like he's written several poetry books and like he had the same titled poem that and like the same like sort of core idea, I want to say, that he released and like
multiple times.
Yeah, like 4 times, and like 3/4 of the poem was different from
different. Yeah, well, that's kind of like the kind of flow state type of people. Like there's a I like Neil Young, Lou Reed, a lot of the guys I like, Dylan, were known for like ticking people off. Like I had a recording engineer that was on during the Blood on Track session. And Dylan was rotating guys in and out because he kept on changing the composition for Blood on a Track. He just kept on changing it in the middle of the session. And the guys were like, no, I can't do it. And then he got some guys that were willing to deal with more of a free fusion, flow state type of thing. But some guys, some studio guys want to know what it is. But if you keep on shifting it, then we're like, nah, that's not working for me. And that's okay. That's them. Yeah, but Dylan was here and you were there, and it didn't work. You have to kind of know. Yeah, but like I've always been, I love that flow state. I mean, when I first started writing, I would have very defined structures. Yeah, and as I got older in the last like 5 years, a lot of my stuff has got more fusion, more free flow, kind of point in time stuff. Yeah. Not that I can't replicate it, because I can, but a lot of times I would just leave it. It's like, this is a point in time composition, and that was that's the point of what I'm trying to do. I call them like sound paintings. Like Hendrix called Electric Lady a sound painting. And it's kind of like, if you listen to Electric Lady, that's their approach. Like that, he never really played Electric Lady live the way it was recorded.
That's so interesting. Yeah.
So I mean, it was the point of it was a sound painting.
Yeah. Right. That's cool.
So it's a cool idea to play. Like when you're with your band, do you guys like write all together, or do somebody is the primary writer and then you come or 2 writers and you come together?
Yeah. I'm the primary songwriter. And so I will bring a lot of times like a mostly finished like demo idea to rehearsals, or like I'll send a track around over email or whatever and say, here's the working lyrics, here's the arrangement idea I have, like, where there's less or more space, and what the actual drum.
Oh, you might even have the drum parts out.
Oh, I mean, so I there's some cool services. I use a service called Musiversal. I'm like plugging all these other things, but anyway, Musiversal is awesome. I've been with them for years. Basically, it's like gig musicians. It's like a flat monthly fee, and I can hire
cool.
Sort of like session musicians for like a half hour at a time for different everything from like, you know, songwriting feedback help to a cellist to drums and bass and guitar.
So you got your own kind of like studio.
I have my own studio band almost any time, which is incredible, and like it's super affordable, and anyway, I highly recommend it.
Good for a songwriter,
yeah. So like for me, I can like get what would be kind of like a crappy sounding, rough like guitar idea into like a demo shape that sounds almost like a real song.
They almost like you could actually go with it.
Yeah, like pretty quickly, like in like under a week, basically, in like within a few days. So so that's been really helpful. And so I bring stuff in, I bring it to rehearsal. My bandmates are incredible and super talented musicians and artists, and they'll like help shape the song and be like, well, what if we like add space here or like cut this?
Yeah, so you're taking the feedback, kind of like like Pete Townsend would bring stuff to Entwistle.
Yeah.
And Entwistle pretty much took it and rewrote it. But I mean, he took the original idea and stayed within the concept of what Pete wanted.
Yeah.
But brought the fact that he was like one of the best bassists in the world. So you get this.
Yeah.
The
the bass player in my band is a classically trained jazz bass player who wants to play in a rock band.
He's got to pull that. He's got to bring that in. Yeah.
Yeah. And he can like do whatever, like, I mean, my lead guitar player is a guy who's toured, he's toured all over Europe. He's a Danish dude. And my drummer is an unbelievable rock drummer. Like, I mean, all three of them, I'm so lucky that, and so like, I can just like throw a half-baked idea at them and they're like,
and they'll embellish it. They'll actually bring it.
Yeah. They'll catch it and be like, this rocks. This is a cool riff. Like, let's like
a drummer, you come to a drummer with a basic drum.
Yeah.
And the drummer will bring in the percussion, bring in the stuff that you couldn't do because you're not a drummer, right?
Right.
So it's like what you want is if you had a horn section, and I went a bunch of stabs on my synth.
Yeah.
I expect that horn section is going to do better than what I did on my mode. I usually expect that, and they usually.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully that's that should be the case always. I mean, working with real people is like, and. Just like having that sort of that feedback from folks in the room is great. I mean, I intend on writing more collectively. That's my sort of goal for the rest of this year and sort of into next year with them. And like, we haven't really done much like sitting down and writing, but it's
you never had like a situation where you're actually in studio and you write from scratch at that moment.
Not. I wish I had the budget and the time to do.
Yeah, that's kind of like a thing you do if you're like, in the basement with guys and you have endless time.
If we rented a cabin upstate or whatever and like did something like that, that'd be cool. But nothing like that yet.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like the Big Pink moment. I always go back and listen to those tapes.
Yeah,
it's kind of like seeing people like actually crafting stuff when they weren't in a studio. They're sitting in a house in a basement.
Yeah.
And just given that luxury of like, oh, I'm not having to pay for the studio time.
Right.
So I got this freedom to actually just explore like anything.
Yeah. And you also like bypass, like if you're if you're doing it a little bit more on like a time crunch, so let's say like there's like, let's say it is actually like in a studio space for several hours and you have, or like even like 3 hours in a writing room, like,
well, that can create its own like benefit.
Yeah, I mean, you can bypass a lot of the sort of like either like negative self-talk or like self-censoring of like what you might do when you have time to like ruminate or like think about these things.
Yeah,
like,
thinking too much can wreck it too.
Yeah, you're
like, it's the other side of it. Like if you have more time, you have more time to mess it up.
Yeah. Exactly right. Yeah.
Like 100%. If I'm told like I got 48 hours,
yeah,
like Zen Arcade, I'm just going to record it in a warehouse in 48 hours.
Yeah. Right.
And then it's just going to be that. Right. Versus like if I was in the studio for 2 weeks, would Zen Arcade be what it was? If it took 2 weeks to do it instead of 2 days to do it, there's something about having that. And even like Elton John was talking about Yellow Brick Road.
Mm-hmm.
He said everything's like second, third take, 2-3 takes.
Yeah.
And the fact that he said today that he kind of was reminiscent about that because like, people today have too much time, kind of mess it up.
Yeah. Right.
And they go in and it's like, oh, I can hit the undo.
Yeah.
I can do the redo. I can add
Yeah.
this. I can add this. I can do that and spin this. And it's like, oh, then you get the paralysis analysis. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm doing too much.
Yeah.
I didn't do enough.
There's something. I mean, there's also like just something about writing with other people in a room as well. That's like, I feel like you're doing 3 times the amount of work, like in the same amount of time. So you're like, okay, if we have 3 hours together and there's 3 people, we're doing like 9 hours worth of like,
and you can really get it down because like if you're with your drummer and somebody's got a riff,
yeah,
right, and somebody's got the rhythm section, then you can tighten that up in that moment, and you got it,
right.
And you could come up with other things, but a lot of times in that moment you get. I mean, I've been in bands in the basement, in the garage, with a 4-piece,
yeah,
just writing like all weekend, just writing, not even trying to do an album, but we were just writing. And it was just, there's something about if you're with those guys that want to write, they didn't want to F around, they actually did want to write. Yeah. Then you get some really cool stuff going on.
Totally. Yeah. If you're having to drag people through it, it's a different experience altogether.
If you got guys that like immediately, if you're in tune, you get the right guys for that situation, and they are like, I do want to do. I feel like I'm here, because I think this is going to work.
Yeah.
And they actually contribute, and they're not sitting around saying this, oh, that don't work. They're actually contributing and making it better.
Yeah.
And you're like, damn, because that's like, you're nonverbal. You look at the drummer, he's like, oh, he got it.
Yeah.
The bass player, he got it. Like, oh, and then boom, you're in it. And it's like, yes, tape's running. Good thing we got that.
Yeah, I mean, so I totally feel that. I really, so I was very lucky enough to spend a week in Ireland. I just got back like about a month ago now from a week just outside of Dublin on an international songwriting retreat. And it was the coolest week I've ever.
I think I talked to a guy about something like that before on a podcast, but to something like that sounds familiar.
I mean, it was so incredible. So basically took place at this place called the Irish Institute of Music and Song, just outside of Dublin. It was people from all over the world. Probably like half of the folks that were there were from Ireland. The rest were, a couple of Aussies, a couple of, it was me and another guy, amazing dude from Boston, somebody from, Toronto, incredible like industry mentors that were there too. A guy named Rob Wells, who's got like 9.5 billion streams across all platforms, has written 6,000 songs, like yourself. Gary Lucas, who wrote the guitar stuff for Jeff Buckley's
Buckley's awesome.
Great Grace and Mojo Pen, and worked with Chris Cornell, incredible guitar player, awesome human. And Rob is amazing, and Maria Christensen, who wrote that J-Lo song "Waiting for Tonight," "Waiting for Tonight." Yeah. So she wrote that and like a whole bunch of other incredible stuff. So the three of them, they all like 20 songwriters, and like learned when I was there that like there were a whole lot of people, like I think it was like 50 or 80 people that had applied for this, and like 21 or 22 people got in, and so like the bar was already high to be like, okay, these are all people who are building something, who have some songwriting chops, who can do the thing. And I remember on the first night, we did a sort of like a songwriter round thing where like everyone played one song to each other, and just to sort of like get a vibe for the room and like
who's there.
Yeah. Like see who's doing what. And I remember like going to bed that night and being like, I trust every single person in this room to like get stuff done this week. Like,
they're all into it, getting it done. They're not about like messing around.
Yeah, nobody's half-assing it. Everyone is like very much like, we're like very much it was like I knew that I could be in writing rooms with any number of these, like any number of these people.
Yeah, you have a different flavor of the week depending on who you're with.
I mean, I wrote a lullaby for the first time. Like I worked on I sang and performed on like an emo country anthem, which was super cool. I wrote a song that we ended up performing. It's like beautiful song I'm so excited about, that we ended up performing at like a wedding reception that happened to be happening on the campus we were on at the end of the week. And it was just all these songs and all these people that were incredible. And like, I didn't feel like I had to like pull people in to do the work. And
they're all like willing to be there. I mean,
Yeah.
you got people who want to work. They want
Yeah.
to create. Yeah.
It's like, and so we were just in these, in these writing rooms all day long. Like, we'd spend probably between 2 to 6 hours a day, like writing music together. And it was just the coolest. It was
Well,
so,
that's like the dream. Because I remember like when I was in college and I had time, or when I was in high school where I had lots of time,
yeah. Yeah.
where I had to spend weekends with guys,
Yeah.
and we weren't messing around trying to go to like a pub and get into a pub. Like we're actually writing and playing, because that was our thing. Our thing was like, hey, just write the song, So like,
Totally.
and since then I've had people like that I brought into like what I do, guitar players and drummers and stuff, and just like say, hey, I want to get a guitar player to come in and like, help me write this record. I want a drummer to come in and actually help me write this record, because a lot of times I'm a like one man band, but I will link with other people to create stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like there's like, I always like real drummers, like having a physical drummer instead of using my 808 or my 909 or my Lynn.
Yeah.
Which I don't mind doing because I can.
Those are fun.
Do
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I can do it. It's like a control freak thing.
Yeah.
Like if you know what you want and you can play all the instruments, then you sit there and you do it.
For sure. Yeah.
But sometimes what the point is I want to collaborate. Right.
Yeah.
So it depends on what serves the song again. What are you trying to do?
Yeah. I mean, collaboration for me is my absolute favorite thing. I love writing with other people. I mean, like I find the simultaneously the community building, the magic that can happen in a room, the sort of like the focused work ethic. A lot of times, like I feel like, if I'm just up on my own, like I'd much rather just,
well, yeah, because
play video games
it becomes what like if you get a band, you get a 4-piece, 5-piece, even if you work with another person.
Yeah.
You get their perspective and it becomes more than just you.
100%. Yeah.
And so that becomes like the signature is everybody that's in the room signature, right?
Yeah.
And so that in itself, when it's like a team sport, I always tell it's like there's a lot between like, physically playing in sports and being a musician. And when you get and I've talked to filmmakers and they say it's the same thing.
Yeah.
When you have that team and you get that scene done, it's the same thing when you're on stage and you got that song, you did the set.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That team, everybody had to contribute to get to that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's such a gratifying experience to like be playing songs that people are like, oh wow, that was awesome, or like that really moved me, or I love this particular thing. Like, when I would for a long time when I would play songs or when I'd write a new song, I would go to an open mic. There's a million of them in New York, and so like it was a really easy way to figure out, like, does this song, is this working? Yeah. Like, does anybody care about this? Like, is this interesting to anybody? And like, I could tell, when I would play a song that really was great, like people would come up to me and be like, oh my God, that was amazing. Like, it'd be like, who are you? How can we connect? And like other times we'd play a couple songs and people would be like, yeah, cool. Like good stuff, and like, cool, thanks. So yeah, it's a fun, it's just such a, I mean, it's what a joy.
Yeah, because like maybe also thinking about like, I'm gonna seg into your baking, but
sure.
But I think the creativity, like I like to cook and I like to bake, but it's like it's all part of the same plot. Because sometimes, like if I'm baking, I might be thinking about like a tune in my head, and I go back and write. So it's always kind of going on in the background, whatever I'm doing, and I kind of integrate it. Does that happen to you, or do you like, I'm baking now, I don't think about music?
No, I mean, it's very zen. Baking for me is very zen. So it's like, I mean, I find myself in deep in thought, and that'll often, it's like between, I used to journal a lot. And for a brief period of time, I journal a lot. And then, I find myself, trying to be bored, taking long walks, just being in places where like my mind's sort of, for all intents and purposes, kind of like turned off for a little bit, or at least like just stretching the bounds of imagination rather than being like, feed me with content. So, I certainly that happens. Yeah, absolutely. Like I'll find myself needing to be like, all right, I got to take a break and like go do this or like be done with that and then go write a song.
I'm a mountain biker. I like to just go.
Huh.
And like, if you're on a mountain bike, can't really be thinking about the song when you're coming down the creek bed. So it's like or you hit that tree.
Yeah.
So you kind of it forces you to get out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do love. I mean, I like baking for me is also, it's been a great stress reliever. What my sort of like signature thing is that I bring cookies to all my shows. I like bring baked goods to all my shows. So like I always joke like, come for the cookies, stay for the music, and it's a great way to sort of connect with people. And like, I love feeding people. And so beyond the instant gratification of playing music and people being like, wow, that was awesome. I love that song.
Yeah. Cause food is a big community, like having dinners and having community dinners and baking for a large amount of people, or enough people, like that enough people can get it. You're not just baking for one.
No, I mean, and like people come out, it's like I get to watch the immediate gratification of people enjoying a cookie that I've made. And it's like,
that's a cool thing. I get that.
Also great. Yeah. So.
Cause it's just something that it's very relaxing to me, both things. Like if I go noodling out on my Moog or coming up with trying a new recipe.
Yeah.
Like if I'm in the middle of doing that recipe and trying to come up with something new or trying something different than I had ever done before, it seems like it comes from the same place.
Sure.
And I'm like, I get a lot of satisfaction in the creativity of either thing.
So it's rewarding either way, for sure.
Yeah, I just think it's really interesting how creatives, we give ourselves the permission to do that. Where some folks, they have like a block, and they can't see themselves doing the thing that they really want to do.
Yeah.
And we've kind of, when we get into our lives have been, we always allowed ourselves to do that.
Yeah. Have you ever, do you ever read or go through the Julia Cameron Artist's Way book? Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, that was a life-changing experience to like, I went through that with a group of other people who were like exploring that, it's like trying to sort of be creatively unblocked or whatever, and it's like, it's, people who have just been surrounded their whole lives by other people or family members, friends who are like, you're no good at this. Don't even bother. Like, don't try it,
Like imposter syndrome gets forced.
Yeah. And it's like, it doesn't matter if it's music or writing or like prose or acting or, crocheting or whatever it is. It's like, we all, I agree with Julia Cameron and the fact that it's like, we all have an artist inside of us.
Yeah. I believe everybody's creative because to get through the day as a human being. Yeah. You're creative.
I mean, yeah.
You're even though you might like say, be self-deprecating and say, well, I can't do anything.
Yeah. I chose a different shirt today.
Every day you're choosing certain things.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody frames a conversation. When you have that conversation, you're creative in what you're projecting for yourself.
For sure.
Right? And how you talk to people and who you talk to. So everybody's always framing things and thinking about things and filtering things. And whether or not they actually go and have the looking glass self-analysis of why they're doing what they're doing. Yeah. I think the difference is an artist has that looking glass self moment where they actually do some self-analysis of like, why do they do things? Why do I want to do this? And what am I trying to say? And then actually looking at what they're doing from that lens, knowing that they're creating something outside themselves that might be informed by their subconscious, informed by what's outside themselves. And that's a little bit of work.
I mean, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not
that's work you enjoy, so you don't think it's a lot. But
yeah, well, I mean, like the self-reflection part is really hard for a lot of people. Like I think speaking from my own experience, like it's like it's taken me a long time. Like I to get to a point where like I feel comfortable getting like direct feedback on art that I've made. Like that's a really hard thing for a lot of people because it's deeply personal. It's like I wrote the song about my dead ex-lover, and it's like I can't even like comprehend anybody being like, this sucks, or like
hater and like, well, I hated it.
Whatever it is. And so it's like I'm not even gonna bother releasing it or bother doing that. And like for me, I've been in like I prefer when people don't like blow smoke, and be like, wow, that was really amazing. Like, I really liked it. And then it's, I don't know if it's like unspecific feedback. I
No,
really,
I like that specific feedback where somebody actually said, well, I really like this
this
movement.
thing.
I
Yeah.
like the crescendo. I
Yeah.
like how you built this up. I like
Yeah.
the space between the notes. Like or I don't like the space between the notes.
Right.
Or I don't like that you did this in a weird discordant thing.
Yeah.
What's that? What are you trying to do? And I was okay. Well, you don't get it, but then maybe somebody else gets it.
Yeah,
Right.
totally.
But it's like at least they found it, right? At least they listened.
Right.
And they said, what are you trying to say with this? Right.
Yeah.
And they actually ask you, or they point something out and like, I'll put it on SoundCloud and somebody say, oh, 1 minute and 50 seconds, like you're doing this. What is that? What are you doing?
Mm.
Then you're like, okay, cool. This person's actually engaged.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then we can have a conversation. It's actually about meaningful feedback.
Yeah.
Versus like hated it or I loved it.
Yeah. Either way, you're
great. It's like, well, what does that mean?
Either one's not.
What does that? Wow.
Yeah.
It's like, well, wow. It's like, wow. Well, what does that mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's been like, it's like the self-reflection piece, I think, comes out in the art too. Like, I mean, I know that we're going to maybe chat about like the idea that like music is, or writing is like a secret public journal, in some capacity. But like for me, it's a lot of it helps me process a lot of this like stuff that I'm thinking about, like, maybe like traumatizing events, like conversations that are like really heady and sort of,
but it's your vulnerability coming out. Like you're seeing, it's like like every musician, whether they're writing lyrics or they're a jazz musician, right? It's a journal.
Yeah.
Like in jazz, you don't have a lot of words, but you still can evoke the same feeling.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. So you, through the movements, you can actually make people go to, bring people to tears, bring people to joy, depending on what you're doing. Right. And then you're actually trying to bring that pain out. Like at least like a lot of jazz musicians or blues musicians, like you're going to feel my raw pain.
Yeah. Right.
That's like that.
You're going to feel the sadness that I'm experiencing.
Yeah. I'm trying to get you to feel that melancholy. Like, I'm listening to Hendrix, he's saying manic depression. And you're like, I'm actually feeling like he's really feeling that.
Yeah.
Right? That's really coming out. Right.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow.
the power of being in a room with other people and like playing live music. And like, I there have been a couple of times where like I've played a show and I've had friends who have texted me this like sort of like, I would see them after the show and I was like, how are you? And they're like, I'm like processing, and then they'll like send me a text that's like this, I felt this way about this thing. And like, I was listening to this song made me feel, like think about these other things. And it was just like such a, and it's like, that's the best. Like I had friends who came up to me a few shows ago who was like, oh, I cried 3 times over the course of your show. And I was like, hell yeah. Like that's awesome.
You want the people to be, if you're evocative, if you're a singer, songwriter, that's not just talking about like, oh boy, that girl left girl, and like, oh, like a Pat story. That you actually go into something like, Neil Young, like The Needle and the Damage Done.
Right.
Or like something that's on Tonight's Tonight. He's talking about his roadie that died of an overdose.
Yeah. Right.
Like these when songwriters started to go deep and actually put out things that wasn't like, I'm not trying to get a hit.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get the song that you sing in the shower.
Yeah.
I'm trying to actually tell a story, and it might be a painful story.
Right.
It might be something that it's in the dark corner of the world and you don't really want to go there, but that's what I brought out. Maybe you want to check it out.
Yeah. I mean, that's the like, I would say the sort of the content around the music that I write is like, it's a lot of like heavy topics. I mean, I talk about like depression and talk about like, there's like suicidal ideation. There's like, trauma from like, medical stuff. There's, and it's like it's not necessarily like, it's like singing like a song about like addiction. It's like, it's not all like necessarily, like the I in the song is not necessarily me.
Yeah. You could be like it could be a character. Like, could be somebody else.
Like I'm writing about a friend's experience, but like there's truth in it, but maybe not fact.
But it might not be your truth. There might be somebody else's truth, or you're creating a characterization of a situation.
Exactly. Yeah. So like that's, that's been a helpful sort of, sort of processing for me and for other people. And like that's, I try and, bring that to what I'm doing. And it's a lot of fun. And like, I just, you know, um, when my friend said she cried, I said, is it because the singing was so bad that you cried? 3 times? Wow. Really? I got to work on that, but.
Is the content, the content actually, you actually have someone who's listening to the words,
Yeah,
and actually getting the meaning, and I think that's, and it's the synergy between the words and the song, right?
yeah,
Because sometimes, like, if you're a really good songwriter, like the tones that are coming from your instruments,
right,
accentuating what you're actually saying,
for sure.
and if you really are master songwriter, you take advantage of that. And if somebody really is a music fan, they pick up on it.
Right.
And they will bring them to tears. They'll bring them to joy. Like then like that's why you see them showing up at your show all the time, or
Right.
they follow the band, is like because it's something what you said, something the way you wrote or how you played it.
Yeah.
Is like it's hitting a note in them.
Hmm.
That's the way I see it. Like it's like if you that's what you want. You want that law of attraction. You want that vibration.
Yeah.
That they're gonna pick up on. And it's like, hey, I feel that universal note.
Totally. That's I love it. It's so much fun. It's like
That's why you get up as a musician and you're always you're on your guitar, you're on your roads, or you're on the drum kit, because like you believe that the work you're doing will actually impact other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you would do it no matter what, but you actually believe what you're doing is going to impact other people.
Yeah. I mean, the songwriting is so much fun. And for me, like, I love being on stage. I love being in front of people. And like, it's the most like, that's the sort of like instant gratification, the high, from that experience. And like, there's the high of like just writing a killer song and being like, wow, this song kicks ass. Like, this is amazing. And like, definitely, yeah, I mean, it's both of those things are so much fun. I want to play out forever and like play out for as long as I can, like play all over the world and like play to bigger and bigger, like bigger audiences and smaller audiences. Like a super intimate show is super fun,
Well, what I always liked is like if I have a small club, a couple 100, 200, 300 people, small, like, but you get these big festival stages. Not that that's bad, but it's a different impact if you're playing to like thousands of people.
For sure. Yeah.
Or tens of thousands of people. Sometimes they look like little dots. And you're like, but if you're in a club and you see people's faces.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see that you can hear them.
Yeah.
And you actually could focus on a fan. Like, not that you're going to do that, but you could like, I'm like, hey, this fan's really into it. Right.
Yeah.
This person's really digging it. And it's like, you have this communication that goes back and forth. If you get too big, it gets a little kind of like you're a little isolated.
Impersonal. It's a little impersonal.
It's so impersonal. It's like, how are you? And I always wonder, how are they picking up?
Yeah.
Like, what is going on? Other than like, are they just, okay, I'm just going to perform.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to be more insular tonight. And I'm really not picking up as much from what's coming out.
Yeah.
Versus like, if I'm in a smaller setting, I can really pick up what's going on. Down.
Yeah. I'm not really like a nervous performer. The last show we played, there were like 35 people in the room, which was great in a small room, near where I live. And there was and like most of the people in the room were people that I like. I would say like half the people in the room were people that I know very well personally, and they're people whose opinions I care for and like who I want to impress and make sure they're psyched to be at the show and want to maybe come back again. And like, I'm not usually nervous, but I was nervous
because there was more people that you knew than some crowd where you maybe had less people that you knew.
Yeah. And like, it was, it felt like a very like local hometown sort of neighborhood show. And, so it was like, and I was like, oh my God, like
that could be like the bad thing, because a lot of times like your hometown is for some musicians, their hometown is not their main fan base.
Right, for sure. Yeah,
they kind of blew up outside of that.
Yeah,
So if they come back, that can be kind of threatening because it's like these guys don't really get me.
Yeah.
They never really got me.
Right.
Like if there's other people over here get me, so now I'm going back where the people didn't like why I write the way I do.
Yeah.
It's because of these guys. It's like,
That's so funny. Yeah, it's all because of you that I write.
it's because of you guys kind of triggered
Yeah.
my style. Like, thank you very much, but I don't know if I want to play for you right now. But
Yeah. Yeah, it's all good experiences. I would really just like I would hate to play in front of 10,000 people. No, I'm just kidding. I would love to play in front of 10,000 people and like all of them singing along and like knowing, like whatever.
It's its own kind of high in itself. Like
cool
that's very addicting when you get that. Yeah, when you get that Freddie Mercury swagger, you get the Mick Jagger swagger, because like then they're like, damn, like everybody's here to see me. And the band's like, it gives you a lot of power.
Yeah,
like it kind of feeds the energy.
Yeah,
they kind of give that bombastic performance, because then sometimes you could get a little like overconfident.
Yeah,
and then that has its own problems. There's a whole other set of problems. I've talked to people about that, but yeah, it's just interesting in the space. I think like when you tell young people, and I had some young people that were kind of being, well, I don't know if music's going to be a thing because like I can't get any, because the way the industry is now, it's really hard to break through. I mean, you can put everything out there, but you're not getting any artist development, right? A lot of it is like it's all do it yourself, right? It's all got it, and so it's your wonder is like, are people really into music? Or is music like these big tech companies? Are you kind of using music?
I mean, gosh, that's a huge that's another hour of philosophical discussion. I mean, like I the thing I like to remind myself is that like there's different levels of success in anything, right? But like in like what does success look like at this stage? Like what does success look like in 2 years time, right? Like there's going to be in any like creative industry. I mean, like in the film world and the whatever, and like TV and everything else, like a very, very, very small percentage, like really like break big, but like
it's a big break. Yeah.
But you don't even, but I'm like friends with people who are making a successful career and are doing all the, doing all the things that are like, playing festivals and like going on tour internationally and like playing with other huge artists, like producing other artists and like, playing like Tiny Desk, like, and they're not household name. Like,
no, you don't have to be. I mean, you can be a working musician if you get on that track.
Yeah, like that's
a household name. I mean,
I don't want everybody to know my name. I want like like 1,000 people to like know me and love me and like.
Well, today they're saying if you got like 1,000 hardcore fans and they buy your merch and they follow you and they go to all your shows, and you don't live large, you could actually be out there working for like 10, 15, 20 years.
I mean, that's all I want. That's what I'm working towards. Like it's just one foot in front of the other. It's not being like, well, like if I don't hit the big time, like pop
you don't
stardom,
give yourself that kind of, I think that a lot of people make the mistake of creating that kind of goalpost. Yeah. They've got to be the next Thin Lizzy or something. Like they got to be the next, and if you go do that and you don't hit it, it's like, not that you don't want to be successful and you want to like, I want to be the Velvet Underground. Like maybe you don't.
But I mean, you're comparing, like people compare themselves now. Like like it's me at this stage in my early part of my artist career, comparing myself to the greats, like people who've had a 25-year career, who have like built and have written 1 million songs, who have like done the thing. And here I am, like apples and oranges, being like, well, like I'm never going to be like that. It's like they've got decades or resources or whatever, like
label, and they've had hits,
way beyond, like
it's a totally different world. It's the kind of comparative trap that people got to try to stay away from. Yeah, because today, because of the net, because of TikTok, because all these different places that you can put your stuff out. Like you kind of it's wide open. Yeah, it really depends on if you can hit that frequency with your fan base.
Yeah.
And you get those diehards to follow you.
Yeah.
And to get into everything you're doing, you know, whether it's 1,000, 10,000, 15,000, whatever, or it's 50. Like if you want to keep on doing it because you like it,
Yeah.
maybe you got 50 guys to follow you and you keep on going, it gets to 100, gets to 500,
Yeah.
whatever. That you don't, is like just because it doesn't hit 1 million. You shouldn't just drop the guitar and say, forget
Yeah,
it.
I'm done. I hit 999,000. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also like the iceberg effect, right? So like, I mean, like we see success everywhere. We see success on Instagram, on TikTok, on social media and media in general. Like we don't see the other 90%. That's all the sweat and blood and tears and
it's a lot of work,
pain and suffering. And
even the guys that said they're overnight, nobody's overnight.
No.
Like everybody that says they're overnight, that's a lie.
I'm overnight, but nobody else. No, I'm just kidding.
Nobody else is. It's a lot of work. I mean, it's like the 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
That people didn't see.
Yeah.
It's like you practicing to the point where, like, you know, like a musician where people didn't want to hear you.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they want to hear you, but you had to get good. You had to get to a certain level of proficiency.
Yeah.
Nobody sees you when you're not proficient.
Right. So funny. Yeah.
I mean, come on. But yeah, we kind of hit the mark today, but I do love talking about music, so we let it go a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I really love talking to you about this subject, and this is like the subject that's most dear to my heart is creativity and music. Though we talk about other things on this podcast, music is the first love I've always had on this show.
Awesome.
And so I want to thank you for being on the show. We do have your SpencerBrill.com and your Instagram, Spencer Brill Music, and those will be fully clickable on all the platforms that we've been on. We've just been on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Kick, and we'll be on major platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Newsly, a bunch of other ones by tomorrow. I want to thank you for being a guest on the show today.
Phantom, thank you so much for having me. Great conversation. Great talking with you.
Thank you.